Hello, it's Eve, the creative curator. Welcome back to my channel. We are still on pockets. I've had some great feedback from you guys. I'm really chuffed that you're finding this pocket series really helpful. We've had, oh gosh, a quick recap. Pocket, I can't even remember, there've been so many. Today, we're doing an inseam pocket. This is what it looks like. Oh, is there even a pocket there? Let's find out. Oh my word. So again, similar to the accordion pocket tutorial, I have created a pattern. This is the small scale version. You'll see me talk about it within the tutorial. So it's basically the standard size, but I printed it out at 60% instead of 100% scale. It's available on A4 and US letter pages, completely free. This is like a nice size at 60%, is a nice size for like a little girl's pocket, as you can see. Maybe like, I don't know how old that little girl is, how big her hands are. If she's got massive hands, it won't. And the reason that I did it so small is because I wanted it to fit on my fat quarter. That's what I'm using them for. So I'm going to stop waffling. Please do give the video a like and hit subscribe, hit the bell so that YouTube tells you when my next video is going live. I'm hoping tomorrow to publish a slash pocket tutorial. Not guaranteeing it because today I'm supposed to be doing something else other than what I have been doing. Oops. But if not, I will probably post it on Sunday morning or Monday morning. Next week is pattern making week. So I'm kind of alternating between the sewing and pattern making. I was about to pause. No, I thought my other half was going to clumping down the stairs and interrupt. So pattern making week next week, we're going to be looking at collars. So I wonder if I should give you a hint of what we're doing. We're going to be doing, I've got a very old video on my YouTube on how to draft a Mandarin collar. It's really old. The lighting's terrible. I'm going to be redoing that with clearer instructions. We'll also be doing a shirt collar. And I can't remember the other ones. Should we have a quick look? Might as well since we're here. We're doing a Mandarin collar, shirt collar, Peter Pan collar, which I have a tutorial on my website, but it's not actually video, and a sailor collar. And then the week after, we're going to be sewing them. I mean, we might sew them this week. It depends how far along I get. I'm going to do them. Let me just get my little lady. We're going to be doing them in half scale, purely because it saves on paper. It saves on fabric. The process is exactly the same. So 1, 2, 3. And it means I can actually fit everything on the camera, on my desk, and you'll be able to see it. Whereas if I do it full scale, like my size, it would just, I can't video that. I just don't have the space. My sewing room's too small. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. I'm really excited. In case you didn't know, pattern making is my passion. Pattern making and draping. Okay, I'm going to stop waffling. Let's go. Okay, today I'm going to be showing you how to create the basic side seam pocket. It is an inseam pocket type. I have created a pattern which is free. You can grab it from my website. This I have printed at full 60% scale, which means that this little block here should measure 3 centimeters. Yeah, perfect. You should print it at full scale if it's for yourself because it is the size of a normal human hand. This I have done in slightly smaller scale, actually significantly smaller, 60%, so that I can cut the pocket from 2 pieces from here. And then I will use this fat quarter to be my seam. Yeah, so there we go. First point is to print out the pattern, grab it from my website. The second thing is to cut to, as you can see here, it will tell you cut to self fabric per pocket. And then of course the directions, if you need to follow the tutorial again, the photo one is here on my website. So I'm going to crack on with cutting everything out now. Okay, I've cut my pattern out. I'm now going to cut it from my chosen fabric. I'm going to create a fold line purely because I can cut this much speedier. And my seam allowance included amount is 1 centimeter, but because this is at 60% scale, it's actually 6 millimeters, which is approximately 1/4 of an inch. If you want to add more seam allowance, then what I would recommend doing is, once you have printed it out, use the dotted line as your guide and add on how much seam allowance that you would like. The next job is to mark in the notches. Okay, this one is 2 centimeters down. This one I think was 4 centimeters up. And then of course I'm going to cut along the fold so that I have 2 pocket pieces. The great thing about using fat quarters for my samples means that I have a lovely variety of samples to photograph, and I'm actually going to create a kind of tutorial guide on pockets so that you guys can grab that from my online shop if you want physical that you can print off at home and keep for future reference. So you're going to take your pattern piece for your pocket, you're going to cut out your pocket, and you've marked in your notches. You also want to mark in on your actual garment, because these notches are not for leaving an opening in the seam that you're creating here. It's for actually lining things up on your pattern. So I am going to pop a pin here and a pin here, and that is just going to help me line up. I'm now going to snip in. Should have done that first. Didn't, because I'm a plonk. 1, 2. Now I can take out those pins. Honestly, sometimes I'm such a lemon. Then I'm going to line up my pocket piece with that snip I just made. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. And with the one further down. And this is just going to help you with your pocket positioning when you're sewing a garment. Okay, and now I'm going to sew the entire length from here to here with 0.5 centimeters, and that is because I am using the small pattern piece that I've printed at 60% scale. Okay, so we're going to sew these 2 pocket pieces to my actual fabric, and I'm using now I'm using about a 0.6 centimeters, and I'm going to back tack. And the same with the second one. Snip threads, and we're on to the next step. Okay, now we're going to press first of all, press your stitch line, and then we're going to press the pocket piece to one side, like so. Okay, now we need to line up our pockets and our side seams, as it were. So we're going to flip one piece over the other. What you could also do, and which I would normally do, is I would retain stitch along here on each of the edges just to keep the pocket opening nice, but this is a sample, we're not doing that. Partly because I have to keep putting my sewing machine on the floor each time when I'm finished. So I'm going to line up. I'm looking for the 2 pockets to be perfectly lined up, okay? We're going to pin the pockets together. I think there's been an accident. There's a lot of alarm fire machines, ambulances. So that's my pocket pinned together. You won't actually sew the pocket bag itself yet. What we're going to do, now that we know that's all lined up, is we're going to sew this side seam. And we're coming down to as far as where our stitch line started. And then we're also going to pin this section together, and we're going to continue down to create a side seam, as it were, from that stitch line onwards. Then I will show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm in position, my needle is down, and I'm only sewing as far as the existing stitch line that I created before. And then we're going to repeat it on the lower section as well. Like that. So this is what we currently have. We have sewn up from the bottom of our side seam to meet the pocket section that we stitched before, and we've sewn down. If I now open this, you'll see this is why I recommend stitching retain stitching, or what's the other word that home sewers use it to return? I can't remember the other term. I've always called it retain stitching. You're going to want to press your pocket in the direction that your pocket is going to be facing. So we'll say that this is my front, and so I'm just pressing everything in that direction. And ooh. So now we need to seal the pocket itself, and what I'm going to do that, because I want the pocket to be caught and going to the front, let me just show you that, what I mean by that. So if this is the front of my garment and this is the back of my garment, if it was like a pair of jeans, I would normally have the side seam allowance going to the back. I would press it to the back. In this instance, this is let's pretend it's a skirt, and I want to maintain the direction of the pocket. What I would actually do is just pull back the fabric, so the front section, and I'm going to sew from here to here. And so I've pinned these places together, and you can see all of my seam allowances going this direction, and that's the front. So now I'm going to sew from here all around the pocket bag and up and down a little bit, so just to secure it nicely, and that will help to reinforce the stitches as well. Okay, here it is. I had recorded it. I thought I recorded this section, and actually I'd forgotten because I'm a lemon. Let me trim my threads. It was me chatting away thinking the camera was on, and it wasn't. So I'm just going to repress my stitch line, sorry, so that it's secure. Obviously you would also want to overlock around. Can you see how lovely that looks? And then I'm going to press and fold. And then look. Oh, look at that lovely spotty pocket. Hello. Ooh. Ooh, this is like a little girl's pocket, isn't it? It's so small. But it's neatly finished. You could, if there are other types of pockets for inseam pockets. So this is just a kind of basic one. And what I did is, obviously, a quick recap. We sewed the pocket front to the front and the pocket back to the back all the way along. We then pinned the two together and stitched from the top down and from the bottom up to those previous stitch points. We then secured the pocket in the right direction and stitched around it, and we pressed everything. You could also retain stitch, or I cannot remember what the understitch, that's it. You could of course understitch along here, so you'd be stitching the pocket front to the seam allowance of the pocket front and the front seam allowance. There you go, it gets a bit complex. So those three layers there, you could stitch along there if you wanted to, and that would help everything stay in position. You could also do it on the back section as well. I have not done that. I do normally do that on my skirt pockets, but I haven't today. And yeah, the other types of side seam pocket that you can have include, so rather than this just kind of floating around as it is here, you could have it so that it is grown upwards and then caught into the waistband of your garment. I can show a tutorial of that if you want. Another one is that you could have as your front and back sections, if you were putting it in the side seam of course, could have a grown on section here, and then your pocket bag is attached to that, so you have a natural kind of facing. So here, when we have a look, we can see the contrasting fabric. So by creating a grown on or an extended facing, pocket facing, you then attach the pocket to that facing and you wouldn't see the contrasting fabric right away. You could of course have the fabric of the pocket cut on. So my front pattern piece could actually include the pocket shape, and then I would just be putting the front on top of the back and sewing straight the way round. There wouldn't be this extra seam detail. And I think that's it. The other one is if you have, so you can see that I've created my pocket shape here. What I could do is I could divide this pattern partially, say like take it in 2 centimeters, and I could have a facing and then the pocket bag, and I would have to add a seam allowance to each section, of course, but that's also another option. So many different ways to make a side seam or inseam pocket. This is the first way that I've taught you. I will do more tutorials if they're wanted. Just let me know in the comments below. Ooh, isn't that lovely? Look at that. I'm going to stop now because my other half is rattling around. I think he's doing lunch. So enjoy. I really hope that you enjoyed that tutorial. As I said, is one of the most basic side seam or inseam pockets that you can create. You find it quite often on many things: skirts, trousers, jackets, that kind of thing. There are 5 different ways to create an inseam pocket. I have got a blog post on those, but it's not published yet because I need to take a few more photos. So as soon as that's done, I'll link it in the description below. Hopefully by the end of February that'll be there. And that's it. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time here with me. Tomorrow, as I previously mentioned, we will be dropping the slash pocket tutorial. I have to look up at my calendar. I've got this brilliant calendar and I fill it in with what's happening so I don't lose track of what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's what we're doing. Sunday will be my vlog, which is all about Frida Kahlo. In case you haven't caught any of the videos this week where I've mentioned it, it's Frida Kahlo week. Well, it's Pockets week, but Frida Kahlo on Sunday. And then, yeah, that's it. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, because it just helps my channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already and you want to learn more about sewing, pattern making and designing your own clothes. Hit the bell so YouTube's like, woo, Eve posted a new video. That's it. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments, whether there's any pockets that you would like me to see covered or like to see me cover. I've got a list actually from some emails that I've received and some comments here on the channel. So we will be having a second pocket week, although I might just surreptitiously slip them out next week. We'll see. So yeah, depends how I get on. Have a brilliant weekend, whatever you're up to. I will be sewing and painting. Take care. Bye.